All right, I'm back with a brand new video. This is a video game related video. About a year ago, well, it was last March, I bought a Game Room Solutions cabinet, one of their kind of mid-sized cabinets. I built my own base for it. I'll show some pictures of that in this video. Now, this video I've had posted on my normal YouTube page, but I figured I'd move it over here to my review channel. It feels like it belongs here more than it does over there because I'm not looking for subscribers on the other one, and not as many people are going to see it over there. So I'm reposting it here with my little bit of an intro here. This cabinet is a heck of a lot of fun. What this is I'm going to show you, I'm going to run you through the cabinet. The video is going to run you through the cabinet, kind of give you a look at it. The only thing that I didn't do in the video that I'm going to show a picture of when the time is right during the video is I didn't show the controls. I had to actually route out where the controls screwed in because with the plexiglass on the top and how thick the board is, I couldn't screw my arcade buttons in there. This is the second time that I built something like this. I did do an arcade one-up cabinet prior to doing this, almost a year prior to that, but I was never happy with the outcome using a Raspberry Pi. This is more of a hefty-duty, real arcade cabinet, and I have it up at a height now that is actually full, makes it full size. It's pretty awesome, but you'll hear in my story, if I had to rate Game Room Solutions, I have to give their product probably a B+, but their customer service, I'm going to have to give it a D. It was not the easiest company to deal with. I don't know that I will ever buy another cabinet from them because of the issues I went through. The final product is pretty awesome, but I don't even tell the whole story of what happened in this video, but you'll get a little glimpse of it. But I'm going to run you through the cabinet that I designed. You'll get to see it, where the controls, well, I don't show you the controls, but you'll see a picture of it, and I run you through the whole cabinet from all the way around, and then I also talk about the software, the front end that I'm using, which is BigBox and Launchbox. So you'll see that in the video as well. I do appreciate everybody who is watching. Please hit the like button, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and you will be notified when I have new videos go up. Hope you enjoy the video. All right, I wanted to do a quick video on this Game Room Solutions cabinet that I ordered a couple of weeks ago. I finally got it 99% set up, and sorry about the mess in here. Still not clean from me setting this up. Cabinet's not perfect. There were some issues, like you're going to find out. I'm going to show you the board here in a few minutes. Once you get the plexiglass on there with the board, there's no room for the buttons, and those are standard buttons, to actually lock in, with the threads, the lock nut. So I had to route everywhere there were buttons underneath the board. I got some damaged pieces because of the way they do the shipping, and there were absolutely no instructions on how to put this thing together. Once you do get it together and get it all set up, though, it is an amazing product. I actually designed this using Photoshop, so the whole front is Darius. That is my absolutely favorite game from the 80s, very nostalgic. And I wouldn't say it's my favorite game from the 80s, but it's the most nostalgic game for me. This used to be a 3-screen arcade game down at Golf and Stuff in Phoenix, which is now Castles and Coasters. So I designed the whole front to be a replica of that. The sides, I have logos for the games I used to play down there back in the 80s. So you can see that there on this side. And then on this other side, I've got the other marquee pictures that I had put on here. So I used Photoshop, and then this company, Game Room Solutions, printed this cabinet with those things on there. The back is really cool. You can see the marquee was lit in the front, so I've got some LED lights that string down, so I'll never need lights inside this cabinet. I am eventually going to take the computer out of there and put the components in here, screw them into the side. It'll get better air flow that way, but for the time being, this is how it's going to be. I have not wired up the power yet down at the bottom. That's going to be the next step, and then I'm going to build a base to raise this up. They have a base you can buy that's a foot high, not quite enough to get it to the height I want it. So I'm going to raise it approximately another 6 inches. So I'm going to be building my own base to put on this. That'll be the next step after I get this wired. But it's really nice that they have this door for access here. So I want to show you what I have for the front end. You can see that I'm using a PC. You can actually make something like this for a very low cost. I actually looked on OfferUp and was able to get this PC with a processor running at 3.4 gigahertz, 8 gigs of RAM. with a keyboard, mouse, and a 20-inch monitor, all for $75. It's a 5-year-old computer, but it works great for this. So much more powerful than the Raspberry Pi. I was never able to get out of the Raspberry Pi what I needed, and when I had this cabinet designed, I wanted to make the ultimate game system, arcade that I could have here in my theater room. So over here on the front, I want to quickly show you what front end I'm using. I'm using two programs called Launchbox and BigBox. They're all part of the same company. That's the icons for them right there. Launchbox is where you kind of configure everything, and it's how I got my games on here, and it's how you set everything up. BigBox, though, is the premium version that you can pay for that allows you to show game systems and games with really nice videos, really cool themes, and I'm going to show that to you. I have spent the better part of a week getting this set up, and I'm about 98% of the way there. So if I go in here and I start up BigBox, it's going to come up. Takes a minute to load. But once it loads, I'm eventually going to have this so that when I press the power button on the back and this loads up, it's going to go directly into BigBox. So you can see on the side the systems that I have in here. It's got a nice wheel. This is very similar to what they had inside of the Raspberry Pi. So this is the front end, and you can actually change the views. I'm not going to show how to do that right now, but I've got Dreamcast. I don't know why I put Super Nintendo on here. I'll never play those on here. Arcade games. Arcades actually have a lot of games. There's almost 3,000 arcade games. You can see that, 2,800 games. That is a really cool intro video. This is what BigBox allows you to have, is stuff like this, so it organizes it in a really nice fashion. Setting up Daphne was a nightmare, but I did get it set up finally. Neo Geo, one of my favorite arcade systems. And Dreamcast. I only have one game in here. Hydro Thunder. Love that game. Alright, so that's how this looks. And I can go in here, and if I go into the arcade, which is the one I'm going to use most of the time, when you come in here, it's going to be where you left it last time. Now, when I boot this up, it starts where I have listed my favorites. So in the other program, Launchbox, I took the games that were my favorites from the arcades, and now they show first. So Altered Beast, one of my all-time favorites too. That game, I played that a lot at the arcades, Metro Center. So these are the games that I played quite a bit. And this list goes on for a little while. It's basically most of the stuff that I had on the sides here. So these are the games that I favored. And I will be adding more to this. I haven't added Frogger or anything like that. I haven't added 1942. But I'll show you how I'm going to deal with a lot of some of the games that I really like. And then it goes into the other list. And it just goes through this for the almost 3,000 games. If I press over on the keypad, though, you can see you can go by letter. This is actually a lot easier than using a Raspberry Pi. So I really like this. But we're going to back up. And I'm going to show you how I can change the views in here. And this is something I just learned about today. So I'm going to go into Options. I'm going to go down to Views. And over here, I'm using the Unified theme. There's about 17 different themes you can download for this when you get the premium version. And right now you can see I have the default startup view on platforms, but I'm going to change this. I'm going to change this to playlists. So I'm going to back up now. I'm going to exit out of the program and restart it. Oh, I'm going to exit up one more. So we're going to exit. And I'm going to start it back up. I really like BigBox. I would highly recommend Launchbox and BigBox for anybody who's using a PC. There's some setup involved. Luckily, there are tutorials at the company that makes it put out that you can watch that show you how to set up each of the systems and what you need to do. So now I come in here, and it's not going to show me Daphne, Neo Geo, or any of those, but it does show me all the different categories under arcade games. There are way too many categories here, though. I'm actually going to go in and whittle this list down. Cave, right there. Shmups, my absolute favorite category. Cave makes some amazing games. So there's a lot of categories here, like flying I can take out. What's this? Light gun games can come out. Maze games can come out. There's just many game lists here that I can take out of here that I will never go into and are unnecessary. Here's my favorite category, though, shmups. Now, if I go in here, it's going to show you, you can see right there, look at how many shmups are on here. This is the main reason I built this cabinet. There are over 400 shoot-'em-up games on here. Basically where you're in some kind of a craft, fighting your way through whatever it might be. This is my all-time favorite arcade genre, and I absolutely love it. And if I go into it, you can see it's going to list just the shmups for this category, which is pretty freaking cool. So I just found out you can do this. Now, this will be great if I can figure out how to do this so that not only will it show me the platform views, but when I go into the platforms, it would show me these different categories. If I can configure it that way, and I'm not sure if that's possible yet, this will be golden. But once I get this all set up and finished, I am going to make it so that BigBox automatically starts when the computer is booted up and I press the power button on the back. I will always be able to shut down the system, which is great, by using the menu here. So I can shut down, it allows me to shut down the computer by using BigBox, which is fantastic, and I do that through all my controls. I don't have to touch anything else. So right now it's just a matter of going in and configuring the games I'm going to play for the controls and getting it all set up. But at the end of the day, this system is pretty dang amazing. So I highly recommend, if you're an arcade fan at all, it is totally worth it to set something like this up. A little bit of work involved, but in the end, this is going to be the ultimate arcade system. So if anybody knows more about Launchbox and BigBox, please leave a comment. Let me know about all the customizations that you can do, because the videos I've seen through the company aren't always that clear on the different views and everything. They say you got to kind of go in and play with it. But I'd like to be able to do some of the things I'd like to do. So let me know what you thought of the video. But you can see I got this cabinet from Game Room Solutions. They're terrible with their shipping. They're terrible with their instructions. But the final product is totally worth the pain that you go through to get it to where you need it. That's it. We'll be seeing you probably in the next video. The next thing I'm going to tackle is virtual pinball. So I'll just do a video about that when I get that done as well.